Okay, this is part 2 of the modelling out the magazine. The first thing I do before I start the UV is I'll select all the verts and I'll do a weld, and I'll just go into the weld settings. I think I've did this already, so let me just undo a few times. Okay. No, still not it. Okay. Right, and you can see it says before 196 and after 190, so we know that it's finding 6 verts to weld, and these will be because they're really close to each other. As long as they aren't as close enough that they're losing some of my detail, then I can go ahead and accept that. So I'm just going to have a look around to see if it's welding anything I don't want it to. Okay. Other than that, it's probably welding things that are either duplicate verts somewhere from some of the methods I was using or something else. But let's go ahead and accept that. I also want to make a few adjustments. Choose these and move them back. And here I've got an end gone here, so I could just put a cut down here and that'll be a polygon and a polygon there. So let's cut that. There's one on the inside as well. Oh. Now you can see it turned to the edge mode there, but I went and committed. Now, that's probably where I've been going wrong, and it's been welding those together for me. But I don't want to do another weld again, so I'll just be careful. Make sure my icon changes to the small target. Okay, let's check for anything else. Okay, no more end gons. Excuse me. Okay, and just turn off cut. Again, I'll select all the verts and I'll just check my weld, make sure. You can see it's finding one vert somewhere. So I maybe did something wrong. Okay, another good way of checking that your verts are fine is to put turbo smooth on it and just divide a couple of times and turn off the wireframe and have a look around, see if it's created any holes, because it's probably pulled in some areas. But that looks watertight to me. Okay, so let's get rid of that. Now what I want to do is put a smoothing on it. Smooth modifier, alt smooth, and I'll just get it so that high enough to smoothen out some of these areas that I want smoothed. Let's keep going a little bit higher. Yeah, maybe there's fine. Okay, and then I could put my turbo smooth on top of that and smooth result by smoothing grips, and I'll just put a couple of iterations on that. I'll press 7 to see my poly count. I'll go a bit higher. I'll even press F4 to see the actual mesh there. And that there's probably good enough to take into ZBrush and divide another couple of times. That gives me high enough geometry not to worry too much that when I smooth it again that it's all going to turn to like a blob. So 96,000 polys there. So I'll export this out, and I could refine the high def geometry more, but if I wanted, I could just keep the base with the smoothing on, put a texture on this, well, UV it, put a texture on it, and then just do the normals through like height maps and using the Photoshop plugins, either the NVIDIA or the Xnormal plugin, which I use. So first of all, before we go into all this high def stuff, let's unwrap it. So let's get into the material and create a checker pattern. Just click on this little diffuse slot here, choose checker. I usually like to tile it about 50 by 50. Apply that to the model. Just give it a name, checker, and click on the show and viewport. And you can see there how we've got a stretched checker pattern. Now we need to deal with that. So okay, so let me just take away the turbo smooth, and I'll just collapse to the smooth there. So now I've just got my editable poly with everything I've done to it baked into it. So make sure to save your work as well. Now I've got it enabled so that I save in increments, so anytime I hit Control S, it will save as, with the file name, an extra number in increments. So that way I can always jump back to earlier stages, or if it corrupts the current file, I can jump back to the last file. I'm good to go from that. As opposed to starting again. So right, with your editable poly selected in your stack, make sure you're not selected any of these other ones, because if you've got some sub elements selected, then it's going to, whatever modifier you add is going to apply just to that selection. So make sure you're at the top level and add your unwrap UVW, which you'll find from the drop down list. And let's open the unwrapper. Let's close the material here. Okay, let's move this across. Give myself some workspace. I'm using Control and Alt keys together and the middle mouse button to zoom in and out. To pan about, it's just the middle mouse button, and it's similar to the viewport here. And Alt and the middle mouse button rotates around. Okay, so those are default settings. I've not changed anything from the standard setup, so that should be good to go. The first thing I want to do is look at the overall shape. It's a kind of, it's a box shape, so let's just choose all the faces and choose box map, and that will give me roughly a good enough unwrap here. But what I have to do in here is just pack the UVs, and that'll explode everything out there. There's still some issues here. If I choose the element and I'm in face mode, I can click this part. You can see that's this whole area, but it's just missed. It's missed these parts. I could choose to leave them separate, or join them in with it. In this case, I will join them in with it because I like everything kind of intact together. If I draw the brush across there, I'm gonna get it continuous and not have it broken up in some way, even though it was still drawing it nicely, but just seeing as it's part of it. Okay, it's 90 degrees off it, and sometimes you might get a conflict in some game engines where you've got a bit like that, a bit like that. Sometimes it can cause a few problems, so just be wary of that if you're going to have this in a game engine. if you do get problems, then it will be because of this. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just select all the faces that I want to deal with. I'm just going to press U for orthographic. I want to select all these faces at this right hand side, so I've selected the whole side there. I'm just going to deselect what I can see here. And same on the top. Okay, I'm going to choose planar map and align it with the Y there. Okay, so it's gave me this big section here, but it's just the wrong ratio. That's fine. I've got the top level of the unwrap here. If I move it down and I go to my tools and relax, change this to face angles, what will happen is it'll gain the right ratio and it will turn these all into little squares. You can see all these lines are green because it needs welded up. So if I choose all these verts, do weld selected, I've just got a few things here to change. Yeah, there's a few faces included that I wouldn't want as part of this because they're causing some distortion, like this one, this one. So keep that one in. Just these top ones, they're too much of an angle. So I've selected those, and if I go back in here and do detach edge verts, I'll just move them aside. And again, I'll choose this and this, the faces and element, select this whole piece, and I'll relax it again. You can try like edge angles, and sometimes it goes a bit crazy, but face angles seems to be the most reliable one. If you want to speed things up, you can bring the iterations down and bring the amount up, and that will kind of relax things a bit faster. So I'll just choose all these back faces, do the same, all the faces at this side, that is. If you can't see it in red, just press F2 and you'll see those in red. I'm just deciding whether to put these with the back or with this side there. I'll take them away and just have the back as this one strip here, like that. So planar map on that, and that'll be the X, the X axis there. Got the top level, move it aside, do my relax on it. And here I've got something really crazy happening. I've never seen that before, so let's go to edge angles. It could be the iterations is too low, the amount is too high. There we go, that's popped into shape now. So the ratios of these parts are fine, because you can see these are all squares. So to keep that, I don't want to start scaling it like this. If I'm going to scale it, I just make sure I'm holding down control, and it'll retain the original ratios. So I'm going to move these aside because I've dealt with those. Now this corner here though, I want to join onto the front face. So if I'm going to choose these parts, oops, and where this is lit up blue, those are relative to those parts I've just selected. So let's put a planar on those, and they're roughly the X and Y axis, but I'll just put them best align here. Top level, move this down, move that aside there, do my relax on that one, and choose face angles, you get a better result from it. And it's doing its best to straighten out. It might take a little while, but it'll straighten out. I can increase the amount here and it might do it faster. There we go. Okay, so that's straightened out. And I just need to rotate it so it's relative to this side. Excuse me. Just check it's the right way up by selecting this one vert. Yeah, and one lights up there. You can see this part's the same as that as well. So I can choose all these parts that are due to get welded together, and right click and do stitch selected. That's stitched together now, so choose the faces and choose the element and relax it again. Okay, so that's that bit. It's got the corners now attached to it as well. I'll just scale it down a bit. Okay, so those two parts are done. Let's do this side. Faces. Select. I'll just turn off ignore back facing for now. Okay, sometimes depending on what I do here, it closes the window. But we're okay. So again, I'll take away these top ones just by alt clicking. And that back one. Okay. Planar map on the y-axis. That's the axis that they're facing. And go to the top level here, move it out, and put my relax on it. Make sure I choose face angles. And there we go. Let's move it down to the worked area. And I won't worry about the scaling. When I pack the UVs, all the scaling gets done automatically, so we're okay there. I've just got this side to do it, and the top and bottom. Okay, so shows the back face there. I'm going to planar map those across the X. Top level, move that out and relax. Face angles. Okay, that's that one done. Let's do the top. Now when I do the top one, I'm just going to deselect these faces here. The rest of it looks fine. So I'll choose my faces, take away these ones, those, take away that and that. Just all the ones I've done before. They're all part of something else. Okay, so that will give me all those top ones. Make sure I get these little triangles here and there. Okay, so planar map, that'll be on the z-axis. There we go, up to the top level, drag it out, tools and relax. Face angles. That one done. I'm just going to move these out so they don't overlap. You see I've got a missing part here, so I'm just going to choose that one. So I've just got a few parts that I missed out here. So you see I've chose the face. I've chose face mode here and I can choose the face here. So if I just find that, bring it out, and for the sake of this I'm just going to scale it up so I can see it. And then move it down to this guy where I want it. Now scale it down again so I can work with it. And seeing it's only like 4-sided, so I'll just go into my vertex mode, turn off the select by element and press Ctrl T, and that gives me this target welding. For some reason this is kind of playing up a little bit. So what I'll do is I'll just choose the faces that it's relative to it. And I'll just do stitch selected. As long as I go back to this and go to relax, then that will just straighten things out a bit. Okay, now got these parts to do. This, 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 and this. Now these look like they could be flattened out, all kept together, apart from that one. So let's planar map that. Just do best fit there and go into top level, move it out, relax it. That's that done. Oh, change that to face angles. Slightly better result. Move it away. Okay, so that looks like the top's all done there. I'll just get the bottom to do. So basically that's these remaining faces, and if it's not, then we should have some other maybe other faces kicking about there. it's good to check maybe in wireframe. There we go, there's a couple I've missed, so just really that one in the inside and one there. So let me choose those, that one, that one. Move them out. I think it's the whole strip here that I've missed. You see, I just chose both of them there. Excuse me. And now I just stitch them together. Now I'm just going to select the whole thing and relax it again. Okay, so that's good now. This one, the little triangle, I think that is, belongs to that. You can see on this one, it's been joined here, so let's just join it to that one. Leave the big part on its own. I'll just choose the two of them, stitch selected, choose that one, and do the relax. Change that to face angles, and that straightens things up. So that just leaves the bottom here, and it looks to me already done because we box mapped initially. So if I want, I can just do relax on it, and what will happen is it will take on the right shape. There we go, so it's took on the right shape that lets the checker be square and proportional. So everything looks good, you know, everything's square, all these checkers are all squares, nothing's stretched or anything. Only problem is we've got small squares and big squares. We want them all to be roughly the same size. So what you want to do is just select everything and just do pack UVs, which will be found up here. The default ones are fine. And then what you want to do is go in and manually pack if you're not happy with the results here. But for this, you know, for the purpose of this, I'll just quickly just tighten them up a little bit. What I'll do is I'll get them as a square cluster and then enough so that I can scale them up again. And get a bit more texture resolution from it this way. Just move it in a bit, make sure it's away from the corner there. I don't like the way it's really close to it with the pack UV. So choose them all and hold down Control, and then just scale it up enough until, you know, something gets close to the edge, and then I'm just going to move it in a little bit again. So that's me manually packed the UVs. If I want, I can bring that in a bit more. It's actually skinnier than that one, so I can move that down and move that one there. Okay, that gives me a bit more space to scale everything. Okay, so that's a good pack there. Good resolution overall. Everything's been relaxed, it's all got the right proportions. It's been packed and everything's been scaled uniformly. And I've packed as much as possible into the area with little wastage. Okay, so that's that done. Let's close that and I'll collapse to here. And then the next part I will show you the texturing of normal maps and stuff like that. Okay, cheers, bye.